Hello guys, welcome to this channel once again and thanks for viewing this video. Please don't forget to support this channel by liking this video and also subscribing to this channel. Today, let's talk about the increment and decrement operators. So the reason why I really want to discuss about these two operators is because they are very useful and important in programming language in general. And so many Java developers are like, if you want to become a Java programmer, you will usually make use of the increment and the decrement operators in so many portion of your code, or in order to solve so many issues or problems when developing your various programs. So before giving the examples on how to apply these two operators, I'm going to start by giving some key information that we need to keep in mind when we talk about increments and decrements operators. So the first thing is the definition. So by definition, we can say that an increment operator is that kind of operator that is used to increment the value stored inside the variable on which it is operating. So that's the definition for the increment operator. When it comes to the decrement operator, we can also say that the decrement operator is an operator that is used to decrement the value stored inside the variable on which it is being operating on. So these are the two definitions that we can give respectively to these two operators. And in reality, the increment and the decrement operators are mostly used to keep track of how many times certain things have happened in the program. Okay, so that's actually how it is used in real life. So the next point that we need to keep in mind is that the increment and the decrement operators are considered to be versions of the arithmetic operators. I did a video on arithmetic operators. I think we spoke of the addition, the subtraction, the division, and the multiplication, the modulus. So today we are seeing the decrement and the increment operators, which are a kind of a variation of the arithmetic operators. And they are also have a set of rules that we're going to see in just a couple of minutes. And the one of other information that we need to keep in mind is that these increments and decrement operators are unary operators. So a unary operator is an operator that operates on a single operand. So the increment and the decrement operators, they operate on a single operand. So that's basically it. And the last information we have to keep in mind, and this will lead us to some examples, is that each one of these operators can have two forms. That is to say that, for example, in the case of the increment operator, we can have what we call the pre-increment operator, which is represented by this example. As you can see on the screen here, like I will write something like this and then explain later on. So here we are representing the pre-increment operator. So we have two plus signs and then the name of the variable here. So as you can see here, I have an integer variable that I have called number. I have initialized it. And down here, I have put plus number. So number here is the name of my variable. So what I am doing here, what this is called is this plus here is how you represent the pre-increment variable. And there's also what we call the post-increment variable. And how do you represent that is by writing the name of your variable first, and then put in plus plus after that. So this is the pre-increment variable. This is the post-increment variable. So with the pre-increment variable, you have to put 2 plus signs before the name of the variable. With the post-increment operator, you have to put 2 plus signs after the name of the variable. So this also applies for the decrement variables. Let me say, for example, that I will have an integer and I will call it number 2, and I will say it's equal to 20, for example. And here I will say, so if I want to represent a pre-decrement variable, what I'm going to write will be minus minus number 2. So this is the pre-decrement representation. And if I want to represent the post-decrement representation, so I need to write the name of the variable and then put minus minus after, like this. So that's actually how you represent the two different types or forms of both the increment operator and then the decrement operator. So here, as I said, we have the pre-increment, and down here we have the post-increment. So here we have the pre-decrement, and down here we have the post-decrement operator. So for example, let me remove this. I will also remove this one. You will understand. So if I do a system that out that print line and say that I want to output my variable number like this, and click on run, what I will have here is 11. Okay, so that's what we said, that with the increment operator, what it does is it increments the value that is being stored in the variable on which it is being operated. So this is the variable. So we are operating an increment operator on this variable number, and we are outputting the value that will be stored in that variable. So that's why we are having 11. Initially we were having 10, now we are having 11. That's actually it. So if I change this pre-increment and make it a post-increment, here, if I run, you will see that I will still get the same response, 11. Okay. If, for example, I make a a pre-decrement, so I put minus minus here and run, you will see that I will get 9. Yeah, 9. And if I do a post-decrement, I will still get 9. Yeah. So when I run, I'm getting 9 here. So as we can notice, both the pre and the post increment or decrement, both the pre and the post form of either the increment or the decrement operator, they increment or decrement the value stored in our variable by 1. But in reality, these two forms of these operators follow distinct very distinct logic when it comes to evaluating or operating on variables. So in order to be able to spot the difference between these two forms, we have to use the variable in question in an expression to explain it more clearly, in order to explain the difference between the pre-increment operator and then the post-increment operator form. So that's why I'm going to give an example here. I would say, for example, this I will call num1, and I will call this integer. I will declare another integer and call it num2. And what I'm going to do, I will say that num2 is equal to a pre-increment of num1. And I will do a system that out that print line for num1. I will also do a system that out that print line for num2, so that we will see that there will be a difference here. Here, typo, must be system, yeah. So if I run, you will see what the output will be. So I will have 11 and 11. So basically what happened here is that because we are using the pre-increment in that second statement, the value stored in the variable is first incremented. So what I'm saying is that in our first statement here, num1 is equal to 10, we are making an initialization of num1 variable, okay? And then in order to evaluate the second statement, the value of num1, which is 10 here, must first be incremented because of the presence of this pre-increment in the num2 expression. So after this value is incremented, and then later on the incremented value is assigned to the variable num2. Okay, so this is how the pre-increment operator type works. So what it will do is that it will first of all take this value, increment it, and store it in num1, and then take that incremented value, come and store it in num2 here. So that's why we are having 11 and 11. But you will see that we are going to have a different result if we say that instead of using the pre-increment operator type, we are going to use a post-increment type. And if I put num1 plus plus and run, I will not get 11, 11, but I will rather get 11, 10. So why am I getting 11, 10? Because in this portion of code, as I was saying, num1 is initialized to 10, to the value 10. So the value 10 is stored in num1. And in order to evaluate this second expression, which is num2 equal to num1 plus plus, the value 10 is used to evaluate first num2, and then later on it is incremented in order to be stored in num1. So basically what it does is that it initializes num1 to 10, it uses that 10 to store it in num2, and then it increments that 10 to 11 and takes that 11, store it in num1. So that's why here, when we are doing the system that out that print line, we are having 11 being stored in num1 and 10 being stored in num2, because that's actually the logic it follows. as we could see with the pre-increment, what it does is, first of all, it takes the value 10, it increments it, store it in num2, and then store it in num1 as well. But with the post increment, what it does is it takes the initial value, store it in num2, and then increments that initial value by 1, and then store it in that incremented value in num1. So that's why we are getting 11 and 10 here. So this is the same logic it follows even when it comes to the decrement operator. If we make a pre-decrement operator here and run, we will get 9, 9. Okay, what it does is, first of all, it uses 10 here, it decrements it, 10 becomes 9 and stores it in num2 and then in num1. Okay, that's why we get 9, 9. But if we make a post decrement operator here, what it does is it takes 10, stores it in num2. So our num2 will hold the value 10, and then later on we'll take that 10 and decrements it, and it will become 9, and 9 will be stored in num1. So when we run, we're going to have 9, 10. So num1 will hold the value 9, and num2 will hold the value 10. So yeah, so that's what we have here, 9, 10, because our system.out at println num1 gives out 9, and system.out at println num2 gives 10. So that's actually how this works. So that's why you have to keep in mind and be extra careful when you want to use either the pre-increment operator or the post-increment operator, or the pre-decrement or the post-decrement operator, because they follow distinct, very distinct logics when it comes to when they want to evaluate certain variables in expressions in Java. So that was it concerning this tutorial on increments and decrements operators. And I hope this video was informative, and I am eager to chat with you on the next tutorial. Until then, see you.